Hey folks, today is August the 15th. It's currently about 9 o'clock in the morning. As you guys can see here, we're currently in the fxsimplifier trade room. As of this moment, we have not taken any trades yet. We can come down here. Last trade was on 8/12, as you guys can see. So we're waiting on our first trade opportunity. I believe they have a pending order in right now. So we'll see how that works out if it gets filled. I'll go ahead and turn on the sound in the room now.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
A little bit more. You have a day where like, oh, it's green for the day. Go, grab lunch, come back, and it's down again. And it's just like, dang, it can't find a bid. It can't find a bid.
And I'm going to go with the first one you had mentioned. And this was something we looked at last week, folks. I'm sure it was on Monday. What was last Monday? Monday was the 8th. So coming in on Monday, I mean, we already had this part of Thursday. We had all Friday where it was consolidating here. Then coming into Monday, we had a continuing base pattern, and it did break out that morning. Ticked up and then kind of immediately fell back and didn't do much for several hours. And then after midnight on coming into Tuesday morning, you can see this uptrend. Even though it's kind of herky-jerky, it's not just straight accumulation. I forget how you put it, but I agree. It's just been steady, consistent up. And it all started from a base that we definitely pointed out to you last week. Or I say definitely. I almost assuredly, that was on my list. I think I remember it being in yellow. Wasn't issued as any trade alerts. Obviously, it's not part of our results in any respect. But this is just a classic, huge change in sentiment, right? There's your sentiment change on August 4th. Yeah. And then here's your digesting, if you will, of the change. There's a shift, and then there's a period of gestation, if you will, and ultimately we saw a continuation. So that is super common. We see that to the downside. We see that to the upside. That's that kind of quick change in sentiment often will precede the formation of one of these super high probability setups, or at least reliable setups. Okay, so
yeah, occasionally you'll have a really big day and then it kind of reverses or does nothing. But most of the time, what's a really big day saying, right? Especially whatever in FX, it's saying that a lot of money just shifted its view or what have you, right? A lot of money got pushed in, and typically that's going to be followed by some more money. It's not always the case. It's definitely not always. But in a market like FX, where it's like this is your, whatever country's currency against another one, it's like that's a ton of money to move it that much. What did I just say? It takes a lot of money to move it that much, and so that's why you get that so often. Is like, especially at turning points or just a really big resumption in trend. In that case, what did we add? Euro pound. Euro had strengthened a lot more. The pound weakened against euro a lot, and then it pulled back a bit and was just going sideways. That day, it just flips it and says, no, we're going weaker. We're going weaker. And then you have multiple days after where not only does it get weaker, it got weaker every single day since then. That's ridiculous. But yeah, like it hasn't had one day off. It almost has, but it just keeps a little bit more, a fair amount more, a little bit more. It just keeps moving.
And speaking of weakness for the moment, we see, again, just in this pattern that's been issued as a trade alert, so it's a pending trade alert because it is not triggered. We're looking for it to trade at or below at or below 77 spot 315. Okay, and that is this lower horizontal line we see with this feed, and many of you are veterans here to this room. Some might be new. So if you are new, you may not have heard us say but once or so that we need to see this trade at or below 77 spot 315. Forex feeds will differ from broker to broker. So you're seeing a trade station feed right here. I'll be placing, if this triggers, I'll be placing this in the Simplifier with a forex.com feed. So it will, the prices will vary by hopefully not more than a pip or so, but there is some variance that is just part of Forex, and the fact that there's not one standardized tape, if you will. Okay, so at any rate, I'll be going primarily by these charts, looking for these lows to be broken, for it to trade at or below 77 spot 315, and at that point, look to enter that on the sell side, and with my stop placed at 77 spot 65, which is the upper horizontal line. Approximate risk 33.5 pips, could be a little bit greater, sometimes maybe it could be less, but that it's just an approximation. In terms of so that was weakening. We had a little rally there, and we saw that back off. And I like to see that because you're right at the declining 20-hour moving average, and I'd like to see it struggle here. If I'm looking for it to continue to the downside and become a trade that's a bearish one, obviously I want to see it struggle at an expected resistance point, which is just generally this area, this declining 20-hour moving average. Certainly I don't want to see it get above this 200-hour moving average, the red line, because if it does that, then it's really moving out of the base to the upside, and that is not the idea of the trade at all. So that would just be probably a cancel. It wouldn't trigger entry, and we just cancel it. All right, so we've talked a lot this morning already. Yeah, go ahead.
So one question though I've gotten a few times already so far is, can I take this trade? And obviously that's the standard thing I always say, you can do whatever you want. But so here, this is a pending trade, right? So when it says pending over in the bar on the left, what that means is it hasn't triggered yet. And then, right now you can see the chart right there in blue in the middle. The one we're going off of that 60-minute with the lines, it hasn't gone below. So basically, it's a trade idea. It hasn't even triggered yet. And so if you like it, those are the ones, I would totally be taking, right? Because it has not triggered yet. Because if you're at the conference, we actually answered this question along with if it's already triggered, what should I do? And in that case, once it's triggered, most of the time you find you're chasing, what have you. But if you like the parameters for it, pre-trigger, so when it's pending, that's when you do want to take them, right? Again, you want to make sure you like it, what have you, but it hasn't triggered yet, so it hasn't even fully met the criteria. It almost has. And again, with most of the trades in this room, in the NY PIP room, we're doing buy stops and sell stops as our order types. And what we want though is for it to trade at, or in this case, at or below the price on a buy, at or above the price before it triggers. And so this one hasn't triggered yet. Pending means it's still an open idea, not an open idea that's been triggered into it yet. So that's the time you would want to. When wouldn't you? If it's already triggered and started running, even if it's been just, I don't know, for me, more than like a pip or two, I'd just wait for the next one. Definitely if it's been 5 or 10 pips, because then you're chasing a trade and you're changing the risk reward quite a bit. Basically, you're increasing the risk and you're decreasing the reward, and that's not a good habit to get into. So, yeah, I know just a question I answered the other day, so I was thinking, it hasn't run yet, and so you're not chasing it. If I'm not chasing a trade, I don't mind getting in it, again, it's a pending trade. It hasn't triggered, and so I want to be clear. Excuse me. Okay. I want to be clear, and I realize I've said the same thing 3 times in different ways. It has not triggered yet, so that's still totally a trade alert as opposed to an open trade, right? And so that's when you do it. You don't want to be chasing a trade because, again, if it had triggered and started running, now you're paying up for it, and in this case paying down, but same idea, and you've increased your risk. In this case, the risk is exactly the same as when the alert went out. The reward is the exact same. In the room, we do TBD, but because it hasn't triggered, it's still open. Sorry.
No. Very important question. Thank you for asking that. I agree with the fact that because it's just a pending alert or a pending trade idea, in other words, it's pending, means it has not triggered yet. It's not open. That means there's really been no change. The original thought, the original idea, the original entry trigger price, the original stop price, it's all the same. Nothing has happened yet. And so that is kind of a trade idea in its purest form, you could say. Much tougher to assess or more difficult to make a decision of, hey, there's a trade idea that already triggered. It's now open. It's been entered, long or short, whatever it is. And now, should I get in it? That's a much tougher question, and traders will differ on their approach to that. So, yeah, that as Tag mentioned, that's one that.
All right, folks, we've been recording now for about 10 minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and pause it at this point, and I'm going to look at coming back hopefully around 10 o'clock or so. But if they do enter a trade before then, I'll definitely come back so we can catch that part of the process. All right, folks, be back momentarily. All right, folks, it's now about 10:35, and as you guys can see down here, we were entered into, what is it here, a Euro Swiss franc trade. As you can see, we got entered right here at this level. Right now, we're about 9 pips off of the entry price here. And we also have a pending order in on the AUD Japanese yen, and that is right here at this level. So they're waiting for it to break this support point right here. All right, so let's go ahead and check in and see what's going on in the room.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
And that's what I think. This, but potentially, if this does trigger, it could be that much bigger. But in the end, you want the chart kind of telling you that what you're thinking is actually accurate. Because I don't know, that's like a crutch isn't the right word. The aid for me to make sure that I'm not doing stupid stuff. Because I gauge my risk reward. In the end, I base it all on price. To get there, though, again, my position sizing and stuff might be different because of other things. But, there's a saying, it's cliche, but it turns out most cliche sayings are true, is price doesn't lie. That's actually where it's at right now. So.
Taking a closer look at Aussie yen. Euro Swissy pulling back on the 15-minute chart to a rising 20 MA, but below our entry on a breakout that just did not have a lot of legs. So still not near the stop. However, off of the highs and below entry. Your Aussie yen, again, just a pending idea and basing near the low. Looking at potential targets for this idea in case we leave it as a pending idea after 11 a.m. Eastern when we're going to wrap up. We have not today looked at some of the other futures markets and so forth. Crude has just been rallying. It's interesting though. This is an area where I can see it stalling for some obvious reasons. Technically, with the declining 200-day moving average, I mean, this is a robust move today, up 2%, up over 2%. However, you're in the area of declining 200-day moving average here, 200 declining 200 240-minute average, 200 period average on the 240-minute chart. So it's shrugging those off at the moment, able to keep going, but this could be where this very impressive bounce after a very strong sell-off, this is where it might stabilize. So and possibly stall. So that's certainly interesting. A lot of news today that was interesting related to oil in terms of considering, I guess it was, I did not read it, so I was just hearing it, and it was brief, but some talks of production cuts potentially, and that's seeing oil rally. So that certainly is important if you're at all involved with the Canadian dollar, which has a very strong correlation to oil. While we're at it, silver off its highs, gold up as well. Most markets up, with the exception of dollar index slightly down. Bonds down the most, apart from yes, down the most in terms of our futures markets we have there. Down about 0.5%, U.S. bonds. No, why would I even mention that? What does that have to do with currencies? I mean, bonds are where we've seen money flow because there's been a lot of concern. Where during Brexit, where did money flow in? There's the Brexit day right there. Huge day in bonds. Money just flowing in because of a risk-off mentality. Flight to safety went into U.S. bonds and out of stock markets. And in terms of currencies, went into the dollar-based pairs as well as the yen. So these are little clues. You're getting a little sense of risk on today. Just in this very short term, you're down 0.5% in bonds, and stocks are up. Stocks are taking on, people are taking on some risk as stocks rally.
Yeah, one thing when you were, when you pulled up crude, something clarified in my head, because and it's something I guess I knew, but the way it clarified was good. Oil is a perfect example of not only support and resistance, but supply and demand on two levels. Because what's happening right now, so, it's been rallying up, it's going up in the 200-day moving average area and into some prior support, which is now resistance. And what else do you have with commodity? And really you have with anything, but commodity is just a lot more clear. As the price goes higher, more supply can actually come online. So it's, I don't know, it's just interesting to me in my head how, you have two levels of supply demand happening here. Price and then actual supply and demand of oil. And it's, these days with oil, it's a very real thing. I mean, every $3, $4, $5 higher or lower in oil, there's wells that are turning on or turning off because they're economical or not economical. And then all of a sudden, it comes into a real wall. That's kind of part of the reason why, this type of stuff, why support and resistance actually does work. It's not just people that are, trap buyers, trap sellers, but also real things happen around certain things. Commodities, it's very... Yes. Well, it's not totally direct, but it's pretty freaking direct. In a company, it's a little bit different. In a country, it's a little bit different. But still, by and large, on a currency, when it moves a few percent, well, now there's actually a little bit more trade on one side and a little bit less trade on the other side in actual, goods, because now the currency is really strong or really weak. And so these things the support resistance, the supply demand is very real. It's a very real thing, because it's not just, these investment class people, right? We're all investment class. We're not, you're not hedging out your exposure to the yen by trying to, buy or sell the yen, what have you. You're doing it just straight to make profit and loss. But the supply and demand is a real thing on both levels with it. So I don't know. It clarified in my head on the commodity, as far as a way to say it. It's you have two levels of supply and demand right there. And with crude, it's so true right now. Every $3-4 has wells turning on and off almost.
Yeah, and just on a personal note, not something I'm involved in, but a friend has a energy related company. He's a CEO of it, and it's a startup, but it's a very very well funded startup, and has some government backing in one of our neighbors here, and long story short, it's just your point of wells are turning on or off. His is not a well company, but it's related to alternative energy. And the price of oil, the company probably was conceived when crude was at $90, which is a time when it's easier to fund operations and so forth, even if it's all energy. A crude price that's been in half from that means revenues may be cut in half for a lot of these other businesses. Yep. Or moves from profit expectation to actual loss expectation. Obviously, that's an even worse scenario. Okay, so we looked at crude. Silver was very strong today, especially earlier. It's off the highs a little bit. Gold is in a consolidation, but there's a triangle here, folks. In fact, you can see it a little bit on the weekly. You see it on the daily. Rising lows, declining highs. Which way this will break? It's in an uptrend, so I would think higher. On the other hand, on the monthly, it's been up quite a lot, so it's a little bit of a tough call without just making a quick analysis. Those are my thoughts, but one thing, just moving back to our trade ideas, one thing in the next 15 minutes, I will issue a target for AUD JPY. I still like that pattern, and Euro Swiss. I'll also issue a target there, even though it's below entry. And I will just say, and I'll remind you of this, but that I can issue email and app alerts for anything that does remain open here. So that's not something we normally have happen, but occasionally a trade will, here's my musical term, go across the bar line. It will go past 11 a.m. Eastern, and it'll still be open. And in that case, there will always be a target. Right now we don't have targets, but there will, if for anything that lasts to that level, we'll always have a target. And also, we will issue. We have the ability to issue updates, so I may issue an update if anything gets held up. And so I'm going to be a little bit quieter here for a minute while I consider a couple targets here and whether to keep AUD JPY pending or whether to cancel. So expect some clarification in the next 15 minutes, and we'll get that to you.
Yeah. Again, while we're in the room, a lot of the stuff, because we have the discretion, it's live, so it's basically immediately given discretion. That's why on our targets, while we're in the session, they're almost always TBD, things like that. But again, toward the end of the session, anything that we still have, we'll always have more instructions for it going forward, or guidelines, I guess. So yeah, we won't leave you hanging. If you're new and you're coming in, you're like, wait, there's no target. It's TBD. It's like, yeah, well, then last 5-10 minutes, we clear all that up because going forward, instructions are nice, or at least guidelines. I mean, again, you guys can. I say this a lot, but it's a true thing. So one, we're not your investment advisor. So from a legal standpoint, there's actually stuff we can and can't say, right? At the same time, you're also all individuals. We're all individuals. The question I got that I answered up on the stage on Saturday morning was, what the exact question? It was asking, people like, oh, should I close, if I'm up on something and I want to, should I close something in the Simplifier? And my first thing, and a few people even laughed at it because, I don't know, hopefully my delivery probably just because, should I close trades when they're up in the Simplifier? I'm like, it's your account. You can do what you want. And it's very true in a few ways. You might be trying to do something differently or what have you, fine. But so the idea is we're giving you guidance and we're trying to help you. And so, if you're trying to follow that, then that's what we're giving. But in the end, it is your account. Sometimes you'll find stuff like, well, I think this or that. And as time goes on, as you have more experience, you learn more. I was going to say, you know what you're doing. For some of you, that's the case. For some of you, you've actually been at this for a little while now. So you're starting to, start kind of getting a feel for how things really work. If you found this yesterday, this is probably mostly really, really new stuff to you. If you've been trading for a while, it's not. But if you're brand new to all this, you're like, oh, this or that. And so if you look at experience, so medicine, heart surgery. What do I know about heart surgery? I know the basics. I know them well. I know where the heart is, and I know how to sharpen a knife. And yet I would never, ever, ever do heart surgery on anyone, even if but otherwise they'll die. It's like, dude, if I do it, they're going to die anyways, and it'll be a mess. And so, that's not something. It's so kind of having a clue and actually learning stuff and starting to gain some knowledge, it's different. And And so, yeah, we give guidelines. They're guidelines. It's not just legalese, because some people do like, well, I think this might work, so I'm going to try this, or move, change the stop by a pip or two or what have you because of what you're saying. And as you have experience, hey, go ahead and do what you want to do. But otherwise, track it. If you're not comfortable with something, that's why demo accounts, why the paper trading, practice trading is there, is because you can actually test out anything for free, right? You're not risking money. When you're right, you won't make the money, but when you're wrong, you won't lose the money, more importantly. And so if you want to try different things, like, wait, I think I want to try it like this, or I think I see this, that's fine. That's one way to learn, no question. Tinkering with things and like playing with them and kind of taking it apart and putting it back together, right? And so go ahead and use your demo account, demo mode, as the case may be, and really go to town with that, because you should be. I mean, you'll learn a lot better if you're, trying to put things in practice as you go. But it's also a lot cheaper to put them into practice when you're not risking real money. Though, again, like I talked about earlier, over time, to get the psychological standpoint of it, you have to start risking some real money as well eventually. But for the tinkering part, tinkering makes it sound almost cheap. For the experimental part, I try to learn, test this, test that, try this, go to demo mode. It's awesome.
Agree. Demo mode. I mean, demo trading is not real trading, of course. There are differences naturally, sometimes big. However, the mechanics of trading, what you don't want to have hang you up once you have a good understanding of patterns and trading in general, you don't want the mechanics to hang you up because you just haven't done them enough. That's where the demo trading can be really helpful. You learn the mechanics of the of execution, even though it's fake execution. You get at least the mechanics of it in terms of order placement and types of orders, and potentially a lot more. So especially if you're trying complicated orders, really good to have done that at least in some kind of demo fashion before live trading. So just on the targets and so forth, still monitoring these ideas, one pending, one live. No targets issued yet, but honing in on that. We've got about 9 minutes to go, so you'll certainly get that in that time.
One thing we haven't talked about a bunch, we've mentioned a bunch of times, but then we keep having things to talk about trading related. The convention, raise of hands, how many people went? I'm getting a bunch of raised hands.
All right, folks, the time is now 10:52, as you guys can see here. They usually shut things down at 11 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it here and come back for the final minutes of the trade room. I just wanted them to finish talking about basically should you close the Simplifier trades early if you want to. I thought that was really good information. So I'll pause it, and I'll come back about 10:58.
So, looking, Aussie yen will likely remain a pending idea past when we wrap up. Euro Swiss will also be open, so that's a little bit unusual that we'll have two ideas, it appears, that will be left open or pending. This action in the Aussie dollar as we speak might change that. I'm seeing a little bit of a bounce in some of these, but for now, this will likely stay open, and I just need to issue a target for Aussie dollar yen. I would, at this moment, although things are moving here right as we approach 11 a.m. Eastern, that is kind of typical, but expect an update on one or the other after we're done. Okay, so in other words, the way this will happen is it will come through the alert system, which means to email and to the app itself, and the subject of that update, if and when it comes, will be NY Pip Room update, and then you'll see colon, and then the symbol, whichever, whatever the symbol being updated is. It could be an update like exit this area, or it could be an update such as cancel trade in the case of Aussie yen, perhaps, or it could be a change target, an adjusted stop. These are all these kind of updates are what might come through that alert system, but it will say NY PIPROM update in that subject line with the correct symbol attached. All right, so just letting you know what to look for. Obviously, this is just how we're managing the alerts, not necessarily how you're trading them. So obviously, trade as you see fit or not, but that's how I will potentially be updating one or both of these. So still, we're almost close to wrap-up time. Still haven't issued a target for Aussie yen. I'll be doing that shortly.
Yeah, again for today, sorry about the early issue. We started a bit late today because of issues that were outside of our control. But yeah, it's been a pretty decent session. We've had 1.5 trades, as the case may be, and half just because it's pending. It never triggered, right? Well, it hasn't triggered yet. It's pretty close right now.
Whoops. Let me see if I can make that clear because it kind of came out botched when I put it in the chat, but I'll fix that. So almost done issuing these alerts, folks. Just bear with me another moment, and I'll have this target for Aussie yen. Okay, and that's issued now to the chat. I'll put it on this document as well, so it's, again, just easy to see. And Aussie yen is not close to entry. It's really going the other way at the moment. However, it's not breaking. That pattern is still in place. So if Aussie yen just starts to rally and moves up towards Friday's highs, then the pattern's gone, and I will issue a cancel on that. But since that's not the case at the moment, it's just kind of rallying at the moment, but not destroying the pattern. This is still simply just a pending trade idea that I like. Okay, so just distinguishing that there. And okay, that's what I'm doing wrong. So bear with me, folks. I'm almost done wrapping this up. Or issuing this, then we'll wrap it up. So it's also now in the left-hand sidebar. Aussie yen target is a bit greater than usual, but for a PIPROM trade, but we'll look for that. Euro Swiss kind of struggling at the moment, but expect both potentially to have updates of one kind or another. Okay, so folks, kind of a sleepy session today. Nothing I loved except for the Aussie yen. I do like that one a lot. Euro Swiss was certainly a justifiable pattern. I liked it. Just has not acted right since entry, but it's kind of a sleepy session. Other than that, a couple of the pound-based pairs were attractive, but they triggered before we could start. Even triggered before 8 a.m. We started a little bit later than that due to technical issues, but those unfortunately got away, and other than that, there really wasn't much even to consider. Lots of swing setups though, so we did go through several swing setups that are interesting, US yen and some Aussie setups that may be interesting on a little bit further pullback. So plenty to look at. I think Wednesday will be hopefully a more exciting session, and there'll be a little more movement in markets. There's a lot of data the next 3 days, in fact. So with all that said, thank you very much for being with us. Great to meet many of you at the conference. And Tag, I'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah, see everybody on Wednesday. Most likely it'll be right on time. So
yes.
Yeah, sorry about today, but today worked out fine. It's just, we started a bit late. So thanks for coming. We'll see everybody on Wednesday.
All right, folks, so there you have it. Another Monday trade room review is completed. Today, again, is Monday, August the 15th. We had one trade set up. We have one pending order. And right now, we're currently down about 15 or 16 pips. So we're going to continue to watch this. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get this video out to you guys now. But you can definitely visit EmpireAmbition.com. And actually, let me show you how you can monitor this trade, because I am using my FX book to keep up with everything. All right, so if you visit EmpireAmbition.com, let's pull this up really quick. All right, then click on the Wealth Generators Review page and scroll down till you see the chart here. Click on that. And if everything is working right, you should see that open trade. Let's go down to history. All right, so as you guys can see here, Euro Swiss franc. So you can definitely come here and see exactly what that trade is doing. All right, if you have any questions, as always, don't hesitate to send them my way. I might look at doing another trade room update on Wednesday. I know I said I was only going to do one a week, but we'll see how it goes. I'll see you guys on the next video.